Ajay, Vikram, friends of Manthan, my distinguished colleague, Sri Jaipal Reddy, distinguished former, other distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Ponnala Lakshman. I'm truly grateful to Manthan for providing me this platform to launch my book in Hyderabad. This is the 4th year we are doing it. I don't know how long I will write, but as long as I will write, I hope to offer them or hope to request them that this continues to be the platform to launch the book in Hyderabad. One can't find a more eclectic, more diverse, more engaging audience than Manthan. And I'm not saying this to flatter you. The book is launched usually in 5 or 6 cities, but there's never been an audience that is so diverse, so engaging as I find in Manthan, which is why I enjoy coming back and talking to you. Now, what is this book about? It is a collection of columns, and that's a very commonplace thing. Nothing that I can boast about it. If I can make a boast, I can boast about one thing. That for nearly 220 weeks now, uninterrupted, unbroken, I've written the column. And I've kept to my deadline. I've reached the column to my newspapers on the Friday, and it's published on a Sunday. The column was originally published only in English, but today it is published in Hindi, Urdu, Punjabi, Gujarati, even Gujarati, Marathi, Malayalam, Kannada, Telugu, Bengali. Now, how many of you have missed the language which it should be published in? It's not published in Tamil because Tamil Nadu is intimidated by Delhi. But I hope one day it will be published in Tamil also. Now, the difference between the columns of 2015, 2016, 2017 on the one hand, and the columns of 2018 is a very significant difference, which I mentioned in my preface. The columns of the first 3 years were about what is happening in India. The columns of 2018 are about what was happening to India. What is happening in India is a matter of interest to us. What is happening to India should be a matter of great concern to us. I'm sure you've noticed the difference. As usual, the columns are aggregated subject-wise, and within each section, the columns are arranged chronologically. They were not written in that order. They were written at different weeks, but when they are aggregated and arranged chronologically, it makes sense. For example, if you read the 4 columns on Jammu and Kashmir, and only last year or year before I said to the Manthan audience, I fear that we have nearly lost Kashmir. If you read the 4 columns in this compilation, you will come to the conclusion that we have lost Kashmir. Similarly, if you read the columns on economy, you will see the sharp decline in the economy in 2018. If you read the columns on governance, you will see how institution after institution has been undermined or virtually destroyed in the last 12 months. We'll talk about it as we go along. We are therefore living in very troubled times. We are living at a time when the most pervasive feeling all over the country is fear. Everybody is under fear. Civil servants, opposition political leaders, students, Dalits, Muslims, women. When I held a party manifesto consultation in Mumbai, in the famous Bandra bandstand, we had a huge gathering of over 600, 700 people. Nearly 40% were women. And when I asked them at the end, you have told me so many concerns, tell me the top concern of women. They said security. We fear for our security. This is in Mumbai, not in some remote village in Bihar. Women, children, NGOs, academics, scholars, professors, everyone is living in fear. Did you know that India is the largest market for WhatsApp? 200 million WhatsApp users every day. Why are Indians using WhatsApp 200 million? Well, one of the reasons perhaps it's free. But other reason is fear. One is it's free, the other reason is fear. Nobody wants even mundane conversations to be listened to. The fear of being listened to. A top industrialist in one of the southern cities told me that when she sits down to write an email, her spouse looks over her shoulder and says, do you want to put that in the email? What is happening to this country? Why are we living in fear? Is that what we got freedom from the British for? Yesterday in Mumbai they asked me, should not corrupt people, criminals, fear? I said, yes, of course they should fear. They should fear the law. They should not fear the lawmaker. Why should I fear the lawmaker? I should fear the law, that I agree. But I should not fear the lawmaker. Today there is fear of the lawmaker. Today there is fear of the institutions which are mandated to enforce the law. If there is one word which describes enforcers in this country, it is impunity. Look at the impunity with which they act. There are two distinguished governors of the RBI. I don't say I never had disagreements with them. Of course I've had disagreements with them. But the disagreements did not lead to their resignation. They completed full terms. We've had two successive governors of the RBI, the most respected institution of this country, most hallowed institution of this country. Two successive governors resigned, and there is no certainty that the incumbent third governor will not resign. What is happening to the CBI? Number one in the CBI files cases against number two. Number two in the CBI files cases against number one. And the Delhi police is mobilized to lay siege to the CBI headquarters and take it over at 12 midnight as if it's foreign territory. We are becoming the laughing stock of the world. All powers are concentrated in one office, in one person. The cabinet is irrelevant, as was proved in demonetization. I spoke about it last time I was here. No one in the cabinet was taken into confidence about demonetization. They were called, asked to sit in the cabinet room and said, you will hear an announcement at 8 o'clock on television. Please relax here, you can't go home. Stay back and watch television. That's the truth. The Reserve Bank was called to meet in Delhi at short notice. The board of directors of Reserve Bank, a truncated board with many absentees, met in Delhi and dutifully sent a resolution, we concur in demonetization. That day, Dr. Urjit Patel virtually sealed his fate, and it is only a matter of time that they will pile pressure upon him. Once you bend, this is a rule I have learnt in public life. Once you bend, they will make you break. You never bend in life. Once Dr. Patel, dear friend of mine, bent, it was only a matter of time before they broke him. And they broke him. And the man left disheartened, dispirited and disillusioned. I have great respect for Dr. Urjit Patel's capabilities. So I think the time has come for us to ask ourselves what is happening to our country, which is the byline of the subtitle of the book, Save the Idea of India, Saving the Idea of India. Very few cities capture India as Hyderabad does. I realize that every time I visit Hyderabad. I realize that today when I was signing books. I signed a book for Riaz. I signed a book for Prabhakar Rao. I signed a book for Venkateshwar Rao. I signed a book for Yasmin. I signed a book for Rubin. We are a multicultural society. What makes India great is we are multicultural. Many cultures coexist and live here. Many languages are spoken here. There are many religions, 4 of them born in India. Another religion that came to India 750 years ago. Another religion that came to India 2000 years ago. They're all Indian religions today. Many habits, many personal codes, many customs that we live together. We are different, but we are one. There are different characteristics to each one of us, but we are one in the thought that we belong to one nation. We stand under one flag and we sing one anthem. We are proud of this country. But if in this country there is a systematic effort to spread hate. I hate you because you eat beef. I hate you because you've married somebody belonging to another caste. I hate you because you married somebody belonging to another religion. I hate you because you cheered for the Pakistan in a cricket match. I hate you because you ask questions of the government. I mean, what is this? How can you live in a country where hate is spread systematically? Our country today, after 5 years of electing the Modi government, believe me, is more divided than united. I have always longed for a simple majority for my party in Parliament. In all the time I've been cabinet minister, we never had a simple majority. All the reforms were done by coalition governments. The coalition government of Devagowda, the coalition government of Vajpayee, and the coalition government of Dr. Manmohan Singh did all the reforms, determined steps towards solving the Kashmir problem, towards solving the problems in the northeast, towards containing Maoism. I thought this country will be more united at the end of 5 years. This country will be stronger at the end of 5 years. Unfortunately, we are more divided after 5 years and we are weaker. As an economy, we are weaker after 5 years. As a polity, we are weaker after 5 years. Let me say a few words about the economy. We've all talked about GDP. There are two distinguished economists sitting there. GDP is not a fact. GDP is a calculated number. Statisticians calculate the number from other data. They use some very outlandish concepts like deflator and all. I've never understood it, so it's okay. When I speak about GDP, you can assume that I'm pretending to know GDP. But it's a calculated number. It's not a fact. Facts are, investment is a fact. How many Indians invested is a fact. How many foreigners came and put FDI is a fact. The numbers are captured by the RBI and numbers are captured by the Department of Industrial Development. It's a fact. Credit growth is a fact. Every year the RBI reports credit to small industry grew by so much. This is the total amount of credit. 20 billion rupees. Credit to medium enterprises was this much. Education loans were this much. Agricultural loans were this much. Those are facts. So credit is a fact. Savings is a fact. We aggregate all the savings of this country in various instruments and the report comes out every year. Indians saved so many billion rupees, so many thousand crore rupees. That's a fact. Exports is a fact. In 2013-14, India's merchandise exports was $315 billion or 31,500 crore dollars. Every year thereafter, we are below that level. So export growth is negative in 5 years. That's a fact. All these facts are negative. Investment is negative, credit is negative, savings is declined, exports are negative, agricultural prices are negative, agricultural wages are, even according to Arvind Subramaniam, in real terms negative. Yet we say we are growing at 7%. What is this magic, I want to know? How can all these facts be negative and the calculated number be 7%? So what do? If the number doesn't suit you, you recalculate it. And if that doesn't suit you, you recalculate it again. And if the calculators are not suiting you, you create a situation where the last two members of the National Statistics Commission resigned, Mohanan and Meenakshi. Today the National Statistics Commission, set up under Dr. Rangarajan's recommendation, is without a member, without a head. So you get rid of the National Statistics Commission so that everything that you put forward is statistics today. You know that famous statement? There are three kinds of lies. Lies, damn lies and statistics. Who believes us today? Who believes our numbers today? I'm not saying this. Ruchir Sharma, who travels widely, writes extensively, says, I travel all over the world, nobody believes our numbers. Now if you undermine institutions, if you destabilize institutions, what do they do to the RBI? Section 7 has been there ever since the Reserve Bank of India Act was enacted in, I think, 1935. Section 7 has been there. It was there in British India, it was there in independent India, it was there in the Republic of India, it has been there under various governments. Congress, Janata, Vajpayee, United Front. Nobody thought that Section 7 was capable of any other interpretation. But the geniuses who rule our country today found a different interpretation to Section 7 to say, oh, there is a board of directors. Jolly good. Call the governor and tell him, Mr. Governor, you are under the control of the board of directors. Board of directors will take all the decisions. As if the governor becomes a chief executive officer. Or the governor is the chief operating officer. Which central bank of the world is the governor or the chairman of the Fed? A chief executive officer. He is the governor. He is the RBI. Which is what the RBI Act says. All powers of the RBI vest in the governor. The board is there as a sounding board, as an advisory board, to bring in experience of people belonging to different walks of life, especially industry, trade and business and academics, to generally give advice to the governor, but not to tell the governor do this or do that. But that is what they interpret with Section 7. And Urjit Patel had to resign in disgust. Every institution is in danger. Every institution has been undermined. That is why the subtitle of the book is Saving the Idea to India. What is a parliamentary democracy? A parliamentary democracy is made up not only of the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, it is made up of the institutions that underpin a democracy. Which are the institutions that underpin a democracy? An independent Central Election Commission, an independent Controller and Auditor General, an independent autonomous Reserve Bank of India, an independent, fearless and of unimpeachable integrity judiciary. These are the institutions that underpin a democracy. If any one of these institutions is weakened, we are weakening parliamentary democracy. We have the facade of a parliamentary democracy, but inside it is becoming increasingly the dictatorship of one person. It is your call. It is your call to take a decision. Do you want to be under the dictatorship of one person? However wise that person may be, however committed that person may be to whatever ideology he or she belongs to. Do you want to be under the heel of one person? There are many, many countries with the same facade of a democracy. Turkey is a democracy. But does anyone accept Turkey as a democracy? Russia is a democracy. Do you accept Russia as a democracy? China is a democracy. Do you accept China as a democracy? 3/4 of the African countries hold elections, and our Central Election Commissioner, retired commissioners go there and they say free and fair elections. At the end of the day, 97% of the votes are cast for one person. There is a danger that India's democracy will become an empty shell. It has already become. The cabinet is completely irrelevant. You take it from me. Ministers have told us, ministers have told me that we are irrelevant. I won't tell the names of the ministers today. When I write my memoirs later, I'll tell you. But ministers have told us that we are irrelevant. We have no say in the matter. Cabinet notes are prepared in the PMO. Our secretary is called, told to take it back to the minister, and we have to sign on the cabinet note, and it's passed in the cabinet, and cabinet meetings don't take place for more than half an hour. The demonetization decision was taken without a cabinet paper, without a cabinet note. How can you take a decision like demonetization without a cabinet note having examined the pros and cons? The cabinet is irrelevant. Secretaries are irrelevant. Increasingly, the Rajya Sabha is irrelevant. We fought a case, we won on principle, we lost that case. Every other bill today is introduced as a money bill, and the Rajya Sabha has no right to vote on the money bill. Aadhaar Act was passed as a money bill. What has Aadhaar got to do with money bill? Read Article 110 of the Constitution. It says what a money bill shall be. And it says a money bill shall only provide for these matters. Underline the word only. If there is one extraneous provision, it ceases to be a money bill. It has to be voted by the Rajya Sabha. Today this government, left and right, introduces bills as a money bill. The Speaker dutifully certifies as a money bill. The Rajya Sabha can debate but can't vote. Worse, the President of India has no right to return the money bill for reconsideration. every other bill, the Rashtrapati can return it for reconsideration. The Rashtrapati cannot return a money bill for reconsideration. We have challenged another set of bills which have been passed as money bills. Many more challenges will come. One judge of the Supreme Court, the dissenting judge, but you know, dissenting judgment is an appeal to the future. That is what famous statement of Felix Frankfurter. It's an appeal to the future. He said, to pass the Aadhaar Act as a money bill is a fraud on the Constitution. Those are the words Justice Chandrachud used. The majority recognized the power of the argument. 3 sections were suspect. They were not money bill provisions. They were compelled to strike down the act. But what they did was, they struck down or read down the 3 sections and saved the bill. Which is judicial engineering. But we have filed a review. Say you have no power to do that. You can't convert what was not a money bill when it was passed as a money bill today. Anyway, that the Supreme Court will decide. We are bound by the Supreme Court and I have great respect for the Supreme Court. The point I'm trying to say is, every institution is being undermined. The way the institutions were conceived by Jawaharlal Nehru, Babasaheb Ambedkar, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, this is not the way the institutions were conceived. Every institution is undermined today. Did you know that the Central Information Commission had 8 vacancies until 2 months ago? Supreme Court had to step in and say, fill the vacancies. They have reluctantly filled 4 vacancies. The chief statistician's post in this country was vacant for several months. The chairman of the Securities Appellate Tribunal that hears appeals from SEBI orders was vacant for nearly a year. I mean, how do you run a country like this? That is why I say we have to save the idea of India. This country is too dear to each one of us. If I ask you, what is the idea of India? You may not be able to articulate it, but you know in your heart what it is. For the last 2,000, 3,000 years, a multicultural society where we have learned to live with each other and bear the burdens and share the prosperity. That is the idea of India. This is not an India where A will hate A or B will hate C. This is not an India where I will hate an inter-caste couple, but I will hate an interfaith couple. I will hound and drag to the street an aklak and charge him with keeping beef in his house and kill him in broad daylight. I will not kill Pelu Khan, who was taking 2 of his sons and 3 cows to a small dairy farm, stop him in Alwar and kill him in broad daylight. I will not strip Dalit youth of Una because they refuse to strip a dead cow's body. That is not the idea of India. That is the destruction of the idea of India. We might not as well have won freedom. We won freedom because to preserve the multicultural nature of India and to preserve our freedom, freedom from fear. The first line of Rabindranath Tagore, what is the freedom that he sang about? It is not freedom from literacy, illiteracy. Even first line was not freedom from poverty. The first line was not freedom from aggression. The first line was not even freedom from the British. The first line is where the mind is without fear. A mind without fear is a free man. A country where people live without fear is a free country. Today, everyone lives in fear in this country. I think I'll stop here. We have to write and speak. It is our duty. It is our duty to write and speak. We have to do that undaunted, which is how this title of the column compilation selected itself. We have to do it undaunted. And we have to do it in order to save the idea into it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being with Manthan once again. And thank you for bringing fear to our doorstep. Because we know all of us are thinking citizens here, and we all feel about what you said in different degrees. I can only say this before I intro this to the audience. Some time ago, Nasiruddin Shah said, what we said, we live in fear. Then they told him, no, you do not live in fear. He is to say whether he lives in fear or not. Somebody else cannot tell him he does not live in fear. The fear is an internal feeling which you feel. And when someone tells you, no, you're not in fear at all, you're okay. Is not the response when he says, I am in fear. I now leave the questions to the audience.
Finish. I agree we are living in fear. We are living in fear because of the previous government failure to run the administration properly. What's your call? What's your answer on this?
What do you mean? You run the administration not properly? Why should you live in fear? If the previous government did not run the administration properly, you voted out the previous government. That was over. Why should you live in fear today for 5 years after you voted out the previous government?
Sir, your intelligent reply as a finance minister, ex-finance minister, excellent. But the thing what you have to consider is spirit behind the question, you have to give the reply. Spirit behind the question is most important thing than the reply. Spirit is important than the reply and getting clear. All the people fear only. That's the success of the government. We are in fear only. You are right. Then how do you remove that fear? Not by talking lectures. But no, that's not working. I want to
Please sit down, please sit down.
Sir,
you get over the fear.
I'm not in fear. I'm not in fear. I'm talking to you. I'm not in fear. I'm not in fear.
Please sit down, you're disrupting the meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Please sit down.
Thank you.
Sir,
I want response.
Please sit down. You're not in fear
No, not at all.
because I don't intimidate you.
No, I'm not at all.
sir,
I don't intimidate you, therefore you're not in fear.
No, not. No, success of the
Sir.
government.
sir, soon after the Pulwama event, our Prime Minister spoke about like entire world is against Pakistan. But very soon the Saudi, they have given a big amount for Pakistan. And just within 24 hours, USA is also putting some sanction like thing. So where is that Modi is talking about his meritocracy or Magni something?
See, there are two parts to Pulwama. Pulwama was a terrorist attack on India's CRPF. We condemn it. There can be no two opinions that everyone in India condemns a terrorist attack, and especially if the terrorist attack is upon Indian paramilitary forces. These young men, 40 people have been killed. So we condemn the attack on Pulwama. The response of the government was also a praiseworthy response. they asked the Indian Air Force to strike at some target in Pakistan. In fact, the Congress president was among the first who said, "I salute the Indian Air Force." The Indian Air Force does not belong to any government. The Indian Air Force belongs to the whole country. So the Indian Air Force struck a target, and the Air Chief says, "I achieved my objective of striking the target." No question, I accept it. I salute the Indian Air Force Chief, I accept it, I accept his word. Until then, there was no division or debate in this country. The debate started when people started throwing about numbers. That is when the debate started. If these numbers have not been thrown about indiscriminately, there would be no debate at all. It is the numbers which have stirred up controversy. Now, who threw these numbers? The first number was thrown in a private briefing, not attributable to any officer. What we call a private briefing. Then the number was thrown on TV channels. Then the number was thrown by a minister. Then another minister threw another number. Then the party president throws up another number. I mean, we are bewildered. Why did you have to throw up a number? All you had to say was, there was an attack on the CRPF convoy, Indian Air Force retaliated, and we have struck our target and we have returned unscathed. Matter is over. You try to politicize it by these numbers, and these numbers are boomeranging upon the government.
Thank you.
Sir, can you explain what made people of India to overthrow Congress government at the center?
Well, I can't say because I voted for the Congress candidate. Many of you obviously voted against the Congress candidate. It's perfectly right. 31% voted for the BJP, 19% voted for the Congress, and for the Congress lost. Other people voted for other parties. Now, why each one voted against the Congress party, I'm in no position to say. Must be multiple factors. Some people must have had anti-incumbency. These guys have been there for 10 years, let them go and take some rest. That could be a reason. The other reason could be that there were charges of corruption in the 2G case, in the coal case. So these are astronomical numbers thrown by the CNAG. Therefore, there must have been something wrong. The third one was that the post-2008, after the international financial crisis, the handling of the economy gave way to runaway inflation. Inflation crossed 10%, 11%, and people were under a severe burden. There could be multiple reasons why people voted against the Congress party. But as a Democrat and as a member of the Congress party, we accept that decision. We have never not accepted that decision. We accept the decision. We say, yes, you have voted a government and let the government rule for 5 years. We have never tried any shortcuts to destabilize the government. We only wanted debate, we wanted discussion, we wanted the Prime Minister to come and meet the press and answer questions of the press. But there has been hardly any debate or discussion in Parliament. The Prime Minister declines to meet the press. He's not met the press in the last 5 years. Therefore, we have to write and speak in order to draw the attention of the government to the faults of the government, which is what we are doing. Now, whether what we are doing carries conviction or not is for you to decide. Whether the Modi government's credibility deserves credibility and performance is intact, and whether it deserves another term is for you to decide. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as my party is concerned, let me make it very clear. Whatever the verdict of the people, we will accept it. But we will continue to speak and write for what we believe is right. We will speak and write against what we believe is wrong. And we hope that the people will judge. We are accepting your judgment.
Would it, question is here, would it not have been a lot better had Ujjwal Patel held his ground, whatever ground that may have?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question. Yes.
Been a lot better had Ujjwal Patel held his ground, whatever that ground may have been, given that it takes about a 2/3 majority of both houses to impeach him, and given that it may have been a lot more effective to fight from the inside.
There's the pleasure of the government. Although it's a 3-year term, the government shows its displeasure. No self-respecting governor will remain in office. Yes.
So I have two questions.
Take one at a time, please.
Yeah, okay. I was an economics student 55 years ago, about 55 years ago. In my class, I was told budgeting, domestic budgeting and government budgeting are two entirely different, to some extent opposite to each other. Say I am earning 1,000 rupees a month. So when I make my budget for my family for that month, I know I am getting 1,000 rupees, I have to spend 1,000 rupees.
What is your question, please?
My question is this. Because Mr. Antony, the ex-defense minister, the Rafales were to be bought in 2007. All the lengthy process went on for about 5-6 years. And nobody gave, it was never purchased till 2013. When he was asked why, when the government was asked why it was not purchased, he said there was no money. So is that a plausible excuse for a government to say we didn't have money, so we compromised the security of the country?
Well, in 2013, I was a finance minister, and I don't recall Mr. Antony having ever said that he has no money for the Rafale aircraft. I can speak from personal knowledge and authority, because I was a finance minister at that time. The reason for not buying Rafale was the negotiations, according to the Foreign Secretary, Mr. Jaishankar, on 8th of April 2015. Mark the date, 2015, April 8. India's Foreign Secretary, Mr. Jaishankar, said, negotiations are 95% concluded. We expect to conclude it shortly. So the remaining 5% had to be negotiated. There were two sticking points. One was easily resolvable. The other was about giving a performance guarantee. That one item had not yet been negotiated, and therefore the agreement was not concluded.
Good evening, Chidambaram sir. It's always inspiring to listen to eloquent, charming, witty lectures. Thank you so much. Last time we heard in Hull sir, I think almost at 5 decades of
Question.
Okay. 84 to 2014, Congress goes from 400 to 45, and in the recent 4-5 years, we see that a lot of things are being
What is the question, please?
Yes, sir. The question has some background.
No. Give the question, no background. Question. We'll understand the background. Tell the question.
Okay, sir. Is the Congress becoming slowly insignificant at the central level with a lot of state level parties getting MPs and all, with the numbers declining? Is it?
You see, victory and defeat are normal in democracy. The Congress was badly defeated in 2014, and in successive state elections we lost. In fact, it emboldened Mr. Narendra Modi to say, Congress Mukt Bharat, an India without Congress. But after that, the Congress has won and formed governments in Karnataka, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh. So that's 4. We actually won the election in Goa. We actually won the election in Manipur. But they stole the election and installed their government. So actually it's 4 plus 2. So in 6 states in the last 3 years, we have won elections. That doesn't mean we'll win every election. We will win some elections, we will lose some elections. But that is the rhythm of democracy. We hope to win more elections. And if you support us, we will win even more elections.
It's an enlightening session. My question is a bit different. Today, Trump announced that he is looking India as an emerging country, a growing country, and he is taking back the subsidies of the taxation for the exports. Is the result of the recent aggression what we have shown, or what are the reasons for this?
India is an important, significant economy. Nobody can deny that. I suppose I won't be wrong if I say most of you here are children of liberalization, are beneficiaries of liberalization. Liberalization, the author of liberalization, you must be proud. The author of liberalization was Mr. Narasimha Rao. And only 3 days ago, Dr. Manmohan Singh, while releasing that book, said, I may have been the finance minister, but I could not have done anything that I did without the support of Mr. Narasimha Rao. So we are children of liberalization, and nobody can deny that in the last 28 years, India has emerged as a significant economy. We could have done better, that's a different matter. We could always do better. Even when your child gets 95 marks in an examination, you come and tell the child you could have done better. The child says, well, I've got 95%, but Mama is saying I should have done better. I mean, you could have always done better. But we have become a significant economy. Now, but serious mistakes have been committed. This is my point. Serious mistakes have been committed in the last 5 years in the management of the economy. Take exports. As I told in my speech, $315 billion is our merchandise export in 2013-14. In the 5 years ending this March, in 4 of the years, we are below $315 billion. We have not crossed $315 billion. This year, I'm told, we may just cross $315 billion. So if you look at 5 years, merchandise exports has been negative. And 2 days ago, a Vietnamese parliamentary delegation came to meet my parliamentary committee. Vietnam's exports are, hold your breath, $241 billion. India is $315 billion. Vietnam, which has a population of 9 crore, and India, which has a population of 130 crore. Vietnam, which has a land mass, which is perhaps 1/10 or so of India. Their exports are $241 billion, ours is $315 billion. So we should have done better. That is why I find fault with this government for not addressing exports. And today they've woken up in the last 60 days of their government to say we're going to boost exports, but good luck to them. Good luck to them, let them boost exports. But what is it you can do in 60 days which you did not do in 60 months?
I'm ready, Krishna. I have one question in relation to in a democracy, when a powerful leader emerges like Modi, and who canvasses for all elections and wins the elections and then has that kind of charisma, automatically the cabinet meetings will be confined to a very small number and it will be only half an hour or 15 minutes. Same thing happened with our Chief Minister KCR also, because once the progression, see, once you are a powerful leader in a democracy, the people, all other leaders will reduce their sizes.
Both are wrong. I disagree with you. Jawaharlal Nehru was a powerful leader.
No, the question is...
Jawaharlal Nehru was a powerful leader.
At the time when Jawaharlal Nehru, the voters were different. And today we have to go by the voters. Even Congress party, today you are promising universal basic income.
No, the question is whoever is giving more for votes, it has become a commodity trading rather than a democracy.
You are mixing up things. This has nothing to do with denigrating the cabinet system of government. Are we a parliamentary democracy or are we a disguised presidential form of government? Make a choice. You say, we want to become a presidential form of government, elect a president of India who will appoint secretaries. We are a parliamentary democracy. We are a multicultural society. These multiple voices have to be reflected in parliament. These multiple voices have to be reflected in the cabinet, which is why we are a parliamentary democracy. A very homogeneous country can afford to have a presidential system. But a multicultural society like India cannot but have a parliamentary system. And if all voices are muzzled, all voices are silenced, and only one voice is prevailed, that is not the idea of India.
Yeah, you correctly emphasize the pluralistic nature of India, but when it came to the idea of India, it became singular. Is there one single idea of India, or are there contesting ideas of India, and that's why we have situation where each one looks at what India means in a different way?
No. You can have contesting paths to achieve or go towards the idea of India. But the idea of India cannot be a dual idea. You are either a multicultural society or you become a homogeneous society. You are either a one language, Hindi will be the language of India, or you will allow all languages to flourish and be spoken and written and supported in India. You either say everybody born in Hindustan is a Hindu, as people have said it. Everybody born in Hindustan is a Hindu. Or you say, no, we accept the fact that people belong to different faiths and are entitled to practice their own faith. You can either say that nobody should eat the meat of a cow. Or you can say, as Mahatma Gandhi said, I am opposed to eating the meat of a cow, but I cannot impose my view on someone else. Mahatma Gandhi's words, not mine. Therefore, you cannot have an idea of India that is dual. An idea of India can only be one idea of India. It will evolve, I agree. The idea will evolve over a period of time. But it has to be one idea of India. There are other countries that are trying to become multicultural. New Zealand, they're trying to be multicultural. There are countries which are pushing back on multiculturalism. Bulgaria, Poland, Hungary are pushing back on multiculturalism. We are a multicultural society. And if you don't respect the plurality of this country, the diversity of this country, you preach hate, you encourage hate by one section against the other, that, my dear friend, is not my idea of India, and I will strongly fight to resist that distorted idea of India.
So,
one of the last things that you said was that we have as citizens to fight back, and we have to write, and we have to basically mention our dissatisfactions to the
Will
government.
the camera people please sit down? You're blocking the view. Yes.
Yeah, one of the trends, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is that the trust in institutions has been reducing over the last, let's say, 5 years. If there was a report that has been published, it would be debated upon, not gone ahead and said that it was incorrect. For example, the Agricultural Ministry published a report on the banning of notes, the demonetization that took place, which it promptly took back and then gave a very positive report. So what can we as citizens do to get the faith of institutions back where it belongs?
You see, you have a powerful tool in your hand which previous generations did not have. Social media. You don't have to today wait upon the editor of a newspaper to have your letters to the editor published. You have the social media today. Anyone can write. Anyone can speak. Anyone can record his voice. And if you have an idea or a thought that is acceptable to a large number of people, people will repeat it. People will multiply that voice. I think you as a citizen must write and speak. If you have an opportunity, do it in the public forum. But if you do not have an opportunity, use the social media to powerfully advocate what you believe in.
Good evening, sir. So you mentioned the Una incident, Akhlaq incident, and Kahlukan incident, and so as the Congress president has condemned it in the past. But because now the elections are coming, Congress has not, while the Congress not talking about any laws for the minorities or there has to be any laws for against the cow swappers. They're condemning it, but they're not talking about what can be done for the laws.
Please understand, there is a broad consensus in India. Young lady, no, just put your hand down, please. There is a broad consensus in India that milch cow should not be slaughtered. Even Muslims accept that. Even Muslims don't want milch cow to be slaughtered. There is a broad consensus among Christians, Hindus, Muslims, Jains, everybody. Milch cow should not be slaughtered. I accept that. Milch cow should not be slaughtered. There is already a law in every state of this country that milch cow should not be slaughtered. So what is the need for another law against cow slaughter?
As to the Congress can talk about that stricter actions should be taken for the protection of minorities or against...
We will. Wait for our manifesto. Wait for our manifesto. We will.
And manifesto can be legalized. No. Manifesto.
No, you should learn to not to speak when you're not called upon. Okay?
Then give me an opportunity. Sir, give me an opportunity.
You've had your opportunity. There are 500 others here. Please.
Thank you.
So one question. What is the scenario today? Media has been captured. Citizens have been polarized like never before. Institutions have been captured. Jumlas have been sold and continue to be sold. People's money has been pocketed through demonetization. Social media warriors have been produced. Fake industry flourishes, fake news industry flourishes like never before. Freedom has been curbed. The opposition still appears weak. How does one get hope that Congress with other parties will effectively challenge and oust a fascist party?
Well, I'm glad I have one voter for the Congress party in Hyderabad. Thank you. The answer is to continue to talk and speak and fight. This is a non-violent way of bringing about change. I'm not taking a gun and going and shooting around people. I'm not taking a knife and killing people. I am only using the power of the spoken word and the written word, which is what Mahatma Gandhi taught us. The power of the written word and the power of the spoken word, please do not underestimate. The power of the written word and the power of the spoken word will bring about change in this country.
So my question is not now, Kashmir. Even Dr. B.R. Ambedkar is reported to have objected to Article 370. What is Congress' official stand on Article 370?
I don't know where you get the impression that Dr. B.R. Ambedkar opposed Article 370, because in the draft constitution that he presented to the Constituent Assembly, Article 370 was there. Article 370 is not a post-Ambedkar provision. It was in the original constitution presented by Baba Sahib Ambedkar. So I don't know where you get the idea that Ambedkar opposed Article 370. Our position is Article 370 is an integral part of India's constitution and must be respected.
Sir. Yeah. Good evening, sir. Really we appreciate Indian Air Force strike, sir. But what bewilders us is the media, sir. So you said that Sir, media, sir, like the first information was these many numbers. And especially the media and the ID cells of political parties. When the wrong information is coming, why steps are not being taken to contain this without sacrificing the freedom of speech, sir? So nowadays media, like if you see fraud, see Indian media is the biggest fraud, the information which I got. So is that true, sir? Like are there any measures to be taken to contain this without sacrificing freedom of speech?
You see, I can't blame the media for this. The day when they announced the strike, after the official statement was made, there was a private briefing for the media in which some officer, on a non-attributable basis, gave out the number 300 to 350. Which is why every newspaper the next day, if you see the newspapers the next day, all the newspapers use the same number, 300 to 350. So I can't blame the newspapers for that. Some source from the government gave them this number. So I can't blame the newspapers for that number.
Right. Mr. Chidambaram, you yourself admitted that your 2 terms of the particular one made the voters to decide.
Because Controller and Auditor General does not hold this government accountable. You saw his report. Have you come across a report like that kind? He writes to the government on the 5th of January 2019. I cannot redact the numbers in my report. The government wrote to him sometime in December. If in your report you cannot disclose any numbers. He writes on the 5th of January to the government, I am reluctant and I refuse to redact the numbers. There is no precedent for that. All previous reports of CNAG have carried the numbers. Therefore, I want you to reconsider your objection. On the 6th of January, the government writes back a stern letter to him. We don't know the contents of the letter, nor does the CAG disclose what the contents of the letter is or the language is. The sum and substance of the letter of 6th of January is no. You cannot publish the numbers. The numbers have to be redacted. So we have a report today on Rafael. There are 3 tables in the end. All 3 tables have numbers which read XXXXX. A, B, Y. I asked jocularly, is this hieroglyphics or what? What kind of table is this? Please take the CAG report, please look at the 3 tables. There are no numbers. And yet without numbers, we are told to believe that contrary to the government's claim of 9 to 20% cheaper, it is 2.67% cheaper. But you give me the numbers for me to verify. You don't give the numbers. You don't give the numbers to the Comptroller and Auditor General. You forbid him to publish the numbers. There is no precedent for that. Every CNAG report has carried the numbers. And you say they are accountable. Accountability is virtually dead now.
I was born in 1935. I had the opportunity of seeing the governments of
Preston, please.
all these governments who have seen.
Preston.
We are living in fear all these years. Not only Congress government, but everybody. But I appreciate you bringing out all these facts. Can you suggest some of the solutions, sir?
I don't think you've always lived in fear. I'm not denying that there may have been occasions when you felt fear. I'm not denying that. But I don't think you can say, that's why I said, there may have been occasions when some of you felt fear. But you were not always in fear, and not all sections of the people lived in fear. But I don't agree with you, with great respect, that you lived in fear for the last 70 years. I don't agree with that.
90% of people are living in fear.
Uh,
Only 70 years.
I'm glad one more woman got an opportunity. Chidambaram ji,
We have to take only your question and one more.
sure, thank you so much.
I have a flight at 9 o'clock.
I
Yes.
understand.
Go
I'm
ahead,
a
go
proud woman in a proud nation today, and I have
Question,
a question
question.
for you. Yeah, I have a question for you, which is that this country has suffered large due to the corruption in the decades that have followed the. And the scams, the Ponzi scam, whether it is the Sharda or the Flip scam, there have been scams around the direct marketing companies and Ponzi schemes. What is the government's take on those?
No, there's been a scam. Punish the scamster. There's no two opinions about that. If there is a scam, punish the scamster. Whereas the Harshad Mehta scam was there, and the Manmohan Singh, Mr. Narasimha Raw's government and then succeeded governments took action against Harshad Mehta. If there is a scam, punish the scamster. Nobody is holding a brief for the scamster. Who took action against Harshad Mehta?
Thank you for the opportunity for last question.
Which scam? Which one?
2G scam.
The 2G scam, the FIR was filed in Dr. Manmohan Singh's government.
As a citizen, I feel that what the principal...
As a citizen, you must allow me to listen, speak and you must listen.
Yeah.
You said we didn't take any action. The FIR was filed in the Manmohan Singh government. The minister in charge was asked to step down in the Manmohan Singh government. The case took a few years to end in an acquittal. Therefore, how can you say we did not take any action?
I have a point here.
No, there's no point. I have answered your question. I have answered your question.
The principal said that it was a notional number.
I have answered your question.
Notional number. Last question.
It's my privilege to ask the last question, sir. I would like to ask a question about Indian traditions and Congress.
Please don't shout the question. Please don't do that. That's not fit. No, what can I do? What can I do? You should have come a little earlier and occupied the front seats.
I would like to ask a question about Indian traditions and the Congress party. It's a part of Indian tradition, I think, right from the ancient times, for the rulers and country to admit their mistakes. Samrat Ashoka, after Kalinga War, admitted his mistake that the ambition of winning territory is wrong.
President.
Yes. That's what the background of the question.
Please, President.
Similarly, Gandhi admitted so many mistakes.
President, please.
Yes. My question is, why is it not possible for the Congress to admit emergency as a mistake?
We have. We have. Your memory is failing you. Kindly listen to me.
One more.
Kindly listen to me.
One more.
Just a moment. Kindly listen to me, sir.
Yes.
Kindly listen to me. Indira Gandhi, in a meeting addressed in Chennai, where I translated her speech, and in several other places said, emergency is a mistake. I promise that we will never repeat that mistake again.
But as a party,
I'm a witness to that.
then one more.
One last question on economy.
Just
Economy, last
Rajiv Gandhi.
You've had your question, sir. Let somebody else ask.
No,
You've had your question. Sorry.
Last question on economy.
No, sorry. You've had your chance.
Sir, what's your opinion on India?
Friends, I think we are sadly running out of time. May I request Dr. Subbaram to kindly give a...
I have to catch a flight. I'm sorry.
Your time. Sorry.
You hold back the Air India aircraft and say that.
Last question.
Come.
Photographer.